child to explore the program. Make sure you do have some good Skype sessions beforehand. Ask get as much detail as you can. Get some clarification when perhaps, a parent might say that the child has challenging behaviour. So making sure that you actually really understand what that challenging behaviour is.
Yeah, and I guess it's also kind of like your role, like to help, especially if you're younger and you haven't had the experience, helping to get like your kid to ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, like explain more than just like, oh, they have challenging behaviours. Okay, what are the challenging behaviours and how do you manage those challenging behaviours? Because you as a parent should know based on your kids, like, like there's a lot of kids out there that have anxiety and, it's like, I can't even think of it. But like there's a lot of other issues out here that sometimes being younger we don't really understand.
Or sensory processing, sensory overload,
fussy eaters.
That's right, I think. And especially they're having sensory issues. Does that mean they're chewing on everything? Does that mean they have meltdowns? Or does that mean they're awaiting a diagnosis, say, for autism or something like that? Or, is it developmentally the fact that, the child's only two and a half, so of course the child's 2.5 is going to have tantrums, that sort of thing. Does the child sort of, sleep well or wakes up during the night or, just those type of things? Do they have sort of any, I think, especially developmental concerns or delays or, any social phobias? I think those type of things might be red flags, especially if you haven't had a lot of child care experience.
And then it's also there for the parent. If they can hear that, they can help you understand if it's actually appropriate for you to look after that type of kid.
Yeah.
Because quite often, like, families are happy to be like, oh, you'll be fine, you just need to have this sort of attitude or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you really don't have that experience, sometimes it's good to be outside your comfort zone, but that might be too much and that might be actually jeopardizing your chances of having a great year and really getting everything you should get out of the program. And I think your parent is the best judge, obviously, if that would be appropriate for you to have that kid or have that style of family or live in that area or whatever it may be, because they've obviously, majority of their life, brought you up and know the ins and outs of you, and sometimes help you be that judge for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't had much experience in under twos, they can be really challenging, and not as if you're going to get a break during the day either. Often, under threes will be, with you all the time, and it's very exhausting if you haven't ever done that before, and so I think, you just have to be really honest with your skills, your talents, your qualities that you actually will bring to the actual program, and making sure that your skill mix is complementary to what the family needs are as well. I think that's really important. And don't be perhaps pushed into something that you don't want or you don't feel 100%. I suppose some of it ends up being a bit of a gut feeling. No, this is not quite right. I can afford to wait as well. I think that's really important. And I think the other thing is I'd like to make sure that when your child does come across to be an au pair, that they actually have a little bit of financial backing behind them as well. I think so they can actually experience good experience, because you really don't get much money. And, you might say, yes, I can save half, but, that's still not a great deal to be able to go and
I guess
experience.
It's like helping your child establish their reasons for coming on the au pair program. Like, there's many different reasons why people go on the program. Some, like, really, like, they might have studied to be a teacher, so they actually want to just further their skills in that environment. Some are there because they purely want to travel. Like, that there's a good chunk of people that just are on this program because they want to travel. Like, and if you're one of those people, you need to have the money behind you, because realistically, you can save by not eating out and stuff like that, but you're also cutting your chances of being able to really take in the full experience of living in the States or whatever country you're in. So it definitely is, I think, up to you to have that open discussion with your parents, and also, like, are they able, if you come across with not much money to support you while you're here, because you may get to the situation where you want to do some stuff, but you're restricted by your own income that you have. So you have to have that conversation, like, is it feasible for you to be able to support me in any way? And whether that's what you want as well, obviously, because you're trying to be independent.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't always work like that. So it's...
Yeah, or whether then that means that you should just wait another 6 months, a bit like you're going to do straight from school. And then we looked at that skill mix that you had at that time. We looked at your finances, and we made the decision, no, let's wait another year, get your skill mix right, get your finances. So I think that's sort of a really positive. So then you can be independent as well.
Exactly.
You can enjoy
and it
experience.
puts less stress on you as an au pair as well, because you already have the stress of living in a different environment and trying to manage kids that aren't actually your own. And so you don't want to have to add too many additional stresses on that come from, and also like having the money to be able to go and sign up to a gym or do something like a dance class or a cooking class or an art class or something that's going to bring you joy and help you as well. And if you don't really have the financial backings behind to do that, then that's hard. Like to spend 12 months not really being able to do all the things that really bring you a lot of joy.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is that you always need to be open with your child, is the fact that if it doesn't work out, hey, come home. There's no shame in that. You've given it a go, and it just hasn't been at the right time or whatever. And be really open, and if that's the way it needs, and then obviously help them to transition back in at home, because that they may be feeling experience that they've let themselves down or whatever. But again, it's been an experience. They've learned something from it. So I think just to be really open that if the wheels do fall off, that they are free to sort of come. Don't just sort of stay, because I've certainly commitment, but if it's not working for you, whether your health's been affected or the family's just not right, or you've tried to rematch, it hasn't worked. So I think just to be open.
I think it's really important, because before, with my first year, I obviously didn't go into rematch because it was a struggle in the beginning, but I would be in communication with Mum, and she'd really put things into perspective and help me see that, because I was probably too young to be able to see it for myself. But this time round, when I wanted to go into rematch and I really couldn't, but like my mum and like a lot of people around me were like, you need to, like it's really not serving you, it's not healthy for you, but I couldn't really see it. But having someone who really did have that perspective and could help me remember my past experience as well, and help me really chat about it and be open, but at the same time always letting me know at the end of the day it's my decision to do it. And being supportive of saying, if you need to come home, you need to come home, because your health and, where you are on your journey is far more important than staying and kind of, I guess, jeopardizing yourself. And because at the end of the day, like a lot of you, if you were to have to go home because you tried very much and didn't work out, or just simply you felt abundantly like you needed to be going home, then you've still gained something out of the program. You can't lose, and you always have an opportunity to come back at some point too, or do it in a different country, or at least you would have that experience and whatever it is. But I think it's also important, like, yes, you always know that you have that ability to go home, but also making sure that the parent, like if it's in the first couple of months, like that's not a time to probably be saying to your kid, like, especially after like 1 month. It's not the time to be like, come home, like, because you need to understand that they need that adjustment period as well. Like, just like any job, it takes a while to really get into the rhythm and get comfortable with it. And that's the time period, unless there's something really horribly going wrong, then you can look into rematch. But I don't think it's the time to necessarily go home.
No, that's right. And, and making sure that you're speaking to the right people, getting in contact with your...
Yeah, like counsellors and stuff.
Yeah,
like I
exactly.
know the program, Cultural Care, has counsellors that can support you. So you can have, your opinions from your family and everyone, but then you can have that additional source of a counsellor, and LCCs who can also be of assistance as well. But I guess also getting to the point of talking to your family if needs be as well, which is always something.
Yeah. And I think being honest with your family as well. I mean, your family will see through it anyway. So,
Yeah.
By tone, your body language, and all that type of thing anyway. So, yeah. But I think if your child is thinking about it, I really think that, 19 is probably the youngest that you should really come. I think when you've come straight from school environment, I honestly think, you need that little bit more life experience myself as a parent.
Yeah,
just sort of,
I see it. I honestly, I think 18-year-old Rachel wouldn't have managed it all. Like, it would have been, I would have probably made it through the year, but I don't think I would have made it as successful year. But I guess everyone's different, and I guess that's up to you as a parent to also have that discussion with your kid. Like, are you really ready? See if they're really mature and like ready to do it, because it's not just a job where
it's not just a gap year.
Yeah, it's not. It's like it's really an intense job where at the end of the day you're looking after other people's kids' lives, and there's a lot more at stake than that. You're helping to shape them in some way, just like your parents helped shape you. And so if you're not really serious about making it, even if you don't really enjoy kids, it's a very difficult job to put on a smile every single day and continue working through those 45 hours. That's for sure. Which your parents will be able to tell you anyways.
Yes,
really.
Exactly. Yeah.
You would think.
There's certainly highs and lows, and
Yeah. I think that's all for the questions.
All for the question?
Thanks,
Okay.
Mary.
Oh, thank you for the chat, Rachel. Hope you've enjoyed it. Indeed. And good luck and best wishes to everyone.
Yeah. And if you ever want to hear my mum talk again, just send me a message. We can organise it. It'll probably be like Zoom or some other Google Hangout.
Indeed.
Whatever
Yes.
it is.
We did get to go to see Google, didn't we?
Go to see Google. I should give a quick download. We went to see Google. Where else did we go to? Stanford University. Wellington, North Carolina. Santa Cruz.
New York.
US Open. Kind of visit.
And
Charlotte. And Myrtle Beach.
Which was very, very nice.
Utah.
Yes.
Salt Lake City, Utah.
So, we've done a fair bit in the last 12 days. So,
we got to cruise around, and then she got to come to more neck of the woods.
Yes, indeed. Have a nice time. Good.
Beautiful. That was a lovely talk.
Thank you.
From my mum.
Good night.
So my conversation just finished up with my mum, and yet again, she's amazing and awesome, and I'm super, super grateful that that we managed to get this in her last night here. But if you have any questions about the au pairing program, about anything in general, I would love to hear them. I am going to drop my email address below here, but if you want to maybe subscribe to the channel, and you can keep up to date with what's kind of happening and the people that I'm going to have on board. I'm hopefully going to be able to at some point get my host girl to have a chat about being a host kid, and she's only like 7. There's like 7 and 10, so hopefully both of them will be able to get on at some point. Hopefully my host mom is going to get on at some point. I'm going to have my LCC, and we're going to have a bit of a chat, and we're just really going to, like, the main basis behind these videos is to really give that authentic version, and just have that real talk, that everyone needs to have, so that when they go into the au pairing program, you guys understand what you're going in for, because it's so important that everything as much as possible as you can be educated on it, so you make the best, most informed decision. Because at the end of the day, once you commit to this program, you make a commitment, and you can go home and stuff, but we want you to have the best year possible. So shoot away with any questions. I'm going to try and respond back to them as soon as possible, but I just want you to be able to have fun and to enjoy these videos. Some of them may be a bit bland because they're real serious questions that need to be answered, but some hopefully going to be pretty lighthearted and fun as well. So hopefully you'll get to come along on the journey that I get to experience every day.